I am so happy to introduce Dr. Chef Elliott Farmer, our guest for today's Last Call Closing the Tab interview series. A man of so many achievements, he's obtained his PhD in industrial organizational psychology,
Yes.
authored cookbooks, hosted his own radio show, appeared as a Food Network contestant on Cutthroat Kitchen for 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Not only that, he's a retired RN, retired educator. You've taught advanced culinary arts.
Yes.
You've developed your own all-purpose seasoning blend, opened several restaurants in Atlanta, and is the ambassador for Martell Cognac, Bossiette Wines, and the charitable partner Feeding America's Hungry Children.
Absolutely.
I'd also like to mention his oxtail plate specifically raised the bar for pop-up standards entirely at our bar ATL. But currently, right, like as of right now, how would you describe what you do for a living?
I have fun in the kitchen.
Well, I mean, did you personally get trained as a chef? Do you think people need to go to culinary school? Or is on-the-job training enough?
I don't think on-the-job training is enough today.
Okay.
Now, I did on-the-job training while I was in high school.
Really?
I started out as a busboy
Nice.
in high school, and back then, busboys were responsible for the happy hour. And
What?
happy hour, we didn't have meatballs and chicken wings.
What?
We had, lobster tails and shrimp scampi and things like that, filet mignon.
This is for like the guests, or this is like family meal?
This was for the guests in the bar.
Oh, we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong at our bar. What?
You have to look at the time.
Right.
And then this was a very high-end hotel restaurant.
Okay.
So they had to meet the requirements of
Wow.
their guests.
Wow.
And so as a busboy, they trained me 3 chefs. It was the mother, Mama Gussie, Chef Mama Gussie, her son, Chef James, and his wife, Chef Maddie.
Wow.
And they trained me to be a sous chef. And I was it was the Sheraton Hotel.
Coming out of high school.
I was in high school. I think
Wow.
I was in 10th grade.
Man.
And I stayed with them for about 22 years. Throughout high school, even while I was
Same
finishing
crew.
up, I was still doing it because they had wonderful benefits.
I bet. So when it comes to like entrepreneurship, what do you think is more important, talent or luck?
I think both.
Both equally? Equal parts?
Equal parts. I really do. You have to know your craft, but you have to look your brand.
Oh.
Does
okay.
that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
You have to look your brand, make it enticing, make people want to know in more about what you're doing.
Okay, copy that. Well, what's like the greatest fear that you had to overcome to kind of get where you are today? At least one.
One of them, yeah. I think failing,
The fear of failing?
the fear of failing.
Do you remember the first time you failed?
Oh, absolutely. I fail every day. Absolutely. I think my first time I failed, I think I was maybe 5 years old, right?
Yeah, okay.
And I was in my aunt's kitchen, and I was trying to cook me some hot dogs. And I was stirring the pot with the hot dogs in them. The pot fell on me,
Oh, no.
burned me.
Yeah.
So all of this on my right side
Yeah.
is from that 5-year-old boy.
Wow.
But it taught me how to cook.
I bet. I bet.
So the fear of failing.
Like, your menu here at our bar is most times soul food, and it does very well. But is that your favorite kind of cuisine to cook and to eat?
No, I actually, we specialize, my catering company, we specialize in food, period. But
What is the catering company name? So
Farmers Gourmet Catering.
Okay.
It's actually headquartered here in Atlanta. But we look at the demographics of where the our bar ATL is.
Yes.
And so we try to hone in to what their palates would be.
No, you definitely nailed it. What do you think is like the toughest thing about the Atlanta food scene?
The toughest scene that I would consider to be the toughest thing about Atlanta's food scene is such the variety of foods, and then people that have migrated here or relocated here know the authentic type of food, and then when they go somewhere and they claim to have that
Right.
specific type of food, and it's not.
Do you
And
like fusion food? Is that like kind of what you're referring to, like fusion, where people like?
Oh, I absolutely love fusion.
You like fusion
We do a lot of fusion foods because I've traveled abroad studied with some of the most renowned international chefs. So I incorporate a lot of those cuisines into American cuisine, as you see here in the menu.
Yes, we're gonna get into your curry spices too. What advice would you give to chefs who are trying to build their own brands and clienteles, especially in Atlanta, with the diversity and stuff you just mentioned too?
One of the main things is have fun in the kitchen. Don't be afraid to get in the kitchen, try new things.
Right.
Create your own type of palette and go with that. You don't have to do things the way others do it.
Right.
Make yourself stand out. So if you want people to support you, why would I support you and you have the same menu? What's different about your menu versus Chef John John?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
I understand.
There has to be a difference.
Like, when you landed your first big client or catering order, could you tell me more about that and what that was like? Was it chaotic, nerve-wracking?
Listen.
And how big was the order?
I've been blessed. I had retired from nursing, and then some kind of way, it was called Bell South back then.
Bell South?
They
Okay,
found
like a telephone company.
Yeah,
Okay,
they found
all right.
out that I was retired. They asked me to come, and I think they were changing their systems. I was with them about a year, and then I went into, they downsized me. And then I went into catering full time because I was just doing it, on the side.
Okay.
And my first big contract 6 months in was a government contract, and it was $1 million contract.
What? You're just coming out of like a part-time gig, and then that's the first
Coming out
thing?
of a part-time gig. It came across my email. I had never bidded on a
$1 million?
government contract, but the thing about government contracts, their documents are public.
Right.
So the previous caterer, I could see what their bid was, right?
Okay.
I couldn't make any copies, but I could go to the office
Right.
and look at what they did,
Get inspired by
and
that.
that's what I did.
Right.
And all I did was just change their name to my name and adjusted a few figures and turned it in.
And they accepted.
And I was blessed to win the contract.
Wow. Like, even the food truck scene in Atlanta is kind of blowing up. Would you recommend that as like a transition to step into brick and mortar for some of these aspiring chefs? Like, is that a good place to try out?
I think so.
Or go for the big.
Because it's more manageable,
Yes.
right? Especially if you're new and not really certain how the front of the house, back of the house, all of that works.
Ugh.
And dealing with the just all of the behind the scenes of running a business like that. So to do something like a food truck, you're gaining your clientele. They're tasting your cuisine. They're able to refer people to you.
Right.
A lot of times these food truck areas, the community, helps with the advertisement.
Right.
So that saves and helps and saves money. So I would definitely recommend something like
Gotcha.
that.
I heard that like the first dish you learned how to make was Southern cornbread.
Absolutely.
Have you modified it since then, or have you kept the same recipe since your childhood?
For the most part, is the exact same recipe.
Do you feel like sharing it with us right now? You don't have to.
I'm going to
Just
share it.
Just one secret, because I can't figure it out. I've had it a few times, and I don't know.
I will share it. The key to making my cornbread
Yes, your cornbread.
is hot water.
What? No, she's like, ooh. What does that even mean?
Hot water. You have to put, with all of your other ingredients, your cornmeal, your buttermilk, your pinch of sugar, right? Your eggs, your butter, your oil. Before you complete mixing that batter, put you about a 4th cup of scalding hot water in there. It's going to make that cornbread so flaky, so fluffy, and it's going to just chemically react with that butter.
That's so crazy.
Right?
I've never heard that.
I know you
I've
haven't.
never heard that. I'm very interested in trying that, though.
Hot water.
Hot water. If you could go on like a culinary pilgrimage to any place in the world, like today, where would you go?
I would go to Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Absolutely.
You had jerk chicken on your menu yesterday, too. I did.
And
I didn't get to try it, but
and
it
those
looked
who
good.
tried it, I hope they've tasted the authenticity of it.
Do you have a favorite restaurant here in Atlanta?
I do.
Where is it?
Papados.
Papados?
I was just there the other day.
What do you order at Papados?
Seafood.
Any, all and any?
Seafood is my particular favorite dish. Any type of seafood. If it's in the ocean, in the water, I'm going to eat it. Pretty much.
What about your kitchen at home? Is it like super fancy? And if HGTV was to like offer to remodel it, what would you change about it?
That's the thing. It's not a super fancy kitchen.
Really?
I don't have all of these gadgets.
What?
I don't.
Super simple?
It's extremely simple. It's probably considered caveman kitchen.
Really? You prefer it like that?
I do.
Why is
I
that?
still do a lot of hand mixing, personally.
A lot of work.
I still do my own chopping, right? I don't have food processors.
Nothing.
I recently just got a microwave oven. I still do everything old-fashioned. I do.
So do you think people should, like everybody should be able to cook, men and women nowadays
I
should
think
be able
so.
to cook for themselves? What's like a fundamental dish that you think everyone should just learn and know how to make?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. I agree with you. That's a good one.
That's a good one. You
I was
can-
answering that and I was like, eggs, but no, spaghetti's it.
Spaghetti. You can do so much with it. You can bake it, right? You can fancy it up. You can fancy it down. You know, it can be a casserole. It can be something on top of the stove. You can
Yeah.
change the type of pasta. You can change the types of meat. You can change the types of sauces, right?
Versatile, yeah, absolutely.
It's very versatile.
And it's budget friendly.
Absolutely.
You can feed a lot of people. You're so correct.
Absolutely.
Good to know. You created the Chef Elliott Soul Shaking Seasoning, which is like
Yeah.
a low sodium all-purpose seasoning blend.
Yeah.
You also said that you love the curry spice, but what is your favorite fresh herb to use?
Rosemary.
Rosemary? Just
Absolutely.
proteins, or like what's a funky way to use rosemary that a lot of people might not think about?
So I'll give you another secret of mine.
Yes, I love secrets.
I put fresh rosemary in most of my green vegetables.
In your green, like the green beans and stuff I had before?
Yes. So that's the flavor that you're not knowing what it is. It's fresh rosemary.
I'm thinking, I'm trying to like remember my palate. I'm like, okay.
I use fresh rosemary.
Like a lot of, you chop it, or you just, not even just as a garnish, like you putting it in there?
I'm cooking it in there. Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of your guiding principles in life, you said, never get too important. How do you stay humble in the kitchen when you're the boss and like the head executive chef in all these endeavors?
One thing I had to learn, I'm not who I am without the people who helped me to get there and helped me to stay there, right? The dishwasher, the person who cleans the floors is just as important to me
Yes.
as the executive chef. Because if those dishes and that floor isn't clean, the executive chef is not going to be able to do his or her job.
Absolutely.
We all work together as a team, as a family. And I love a peaceful environment in the kitchen because what type of environment that's going on, whatever that energy is, that's going to go into the food.
Into the food. How big is your team currently that you work with, like I guess on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, since we're still currently in a pandemic,
Yes.
it may fluctuate from maybe 10 to 20 right
Wow,
now on a
okay.
smaller scale. But prior to the pandemic, for catering, we would probably have between 30 to 35 people.
Wow. I heard you also partnered with Tyler Perry to feed frontline workers during the pandemic. Other than
did.
downsizing a little bit, how else have you had to like pivot your business model due to COVID?
We've done a lot of that type of feeding. I donate a lot of food that's already prepared, and we don't need recognition.
Yeah.
That we've taken to different hospitals, different clinics,
Yes.
because we need to also urgent care, right?
Oh, yeah.
We do all of that type of things. But I was asked to partner with Tyler Perry Studios, and they agreed, and we fed over 2,000 meals last May.
Wow. It was you and your team that pumped that out, or like was it?
We did. It was
Wow.
only about 5 of us.
What? 2,000 meals between 5 people?
If you have the equipment
Yeah, in the space.
and the space and know how to really prep and plan, and follow through, execute that,
Yeah,
you don't need a whole lot.
it's inspiring.
You don't want a whole lot of folk hands in the kitchen.
Yeah, no, that's
You know
very
what I mean?
inspiring. That's a tight ship too. Not only as like a celebrated chef, but an experienced restaurateur. What do you look for in a neighborhood before you want to open up a restaurant there?
What do I look for in a neighborhood?
Before you pop up a restaurant?
One of the things that I've learned with the restaurants that I've previously opened in the past, I like to look at the demographics. I want to know the traffic volume, you know. So we'll plan out, we'll see what the traffic's like during the day, midday, even at night.
Yeah.
If there's not a lot of traffic going through, that's probably not going to be the best place to open up a restaurant.
Right.
We look at what the average household income is to make sure they're going to be able to afford what we're wanting to offer on the menu, right? We also look to see, do they eat out a lot?
Yeah.
If they're already in the mode of eating out, they're going to welcome a new restaurant because they want to try something new.
Yeah.
So those are some of the main things that we look at.
Yes. Excuse me. Having not only cooked on many movie sets, but also acted and appeared in TV a lot of times, who would you pick to play you in a movie?
Myself.
So put me on the call sheet.
I would have to table that. I really don't know because I have a lot of celebrity clients who may or may not see this.
Are they super needy and demanding?
Absolutely not.
No?
Very regular. They're all, most of them, if not, well, many of them, if not most of them, you know, have been to my home, stayed overnight, you know, and we just be ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just was on a movie set this past weekend filming.
You love it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I can't imagine not doing it now.
What about like Cutthroat Kitchen and stuff? Did you like being on those shows, like those celebrity or cooking shows on?
The thing with Cutthroat Kitchen, my first season that I was on was season 5. And when I was doing my radio show, the Food Network tuned in. It was every Thursday, Chef Elliott's Entertaining Solutions, and we would have guest chefs from all across the world, you know, and we would just be chopping it up on the radio.
Talking about food?
Talking about food, talking about things that aren't so food related.
We'll have to listen to that on our own.
Right.
Yeah.
And about 6 months in, I found out that the Food Network was a regular
Like
listener.
paying attention. Wow.
And so they actually contacted us via social media in the, what do you call it, inbox or messenger or whatever.
Yeah, they slid in your DM.
They slid in my
Yeah,
DM, right?
yeah.
And for about a month, we thought it was a spam.
Like it was fake?
We really did, but my PR team at the time, they finally reached out, and it was really, truly the Food Network. And so they asked me to be a consultant to help get chefs on their competition shows.
Through your network, yes.
But they never asked me to be a contestant. So that's how that came about. We finally said, well, I want to do it too.
Yeah.
And so I bypassed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was already connected with the Food Network. And that episode that we did was such a great episode. At that time, record numbers on YouTube, they created another episode centered around my personality and invited me to come back.
Badass.
And so we did that. Then we did a pilot show and submitted that to the Food Network. And so you can catch a lot of those episodes on YouTube.
I'll definitely be looking. Word on the street is that you're also you have a mean gospel voice. Why haven't we seen you here for gospel karaoke on Sunday?
I don't know. I didn't know anything about it. Usually on the weekends I'm out of town.
Yes.
But I was a part of what is known as it used to be when he was living, the James Cleveland Gospel Music Workshop of America. But after his passing, it's just now Gospel Music Workshop of America. But I did that for over 30 years and sung in my church choirs, did a couple of community choirs, so I can carry a little tune.
You're also like an ordained minister?
I am a licensed minister, so we do not curse in the kitchen.
I know. You've called me so
Right?
many times. It's so bad.
And the thing is, you can't change people because that's who they are.
Oh, man, I cuss
But
so
how
much.
you present it to them in love,
Yes.
and they'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, chef."
I know.
You respect them as a human being. They'll respect you. We can't cuss in here.
I know.
And somebody else cussing. You can't cuss in chef's kitchen.
Always cuss.
You know, but we have a good time.
Yes, absolutely.
We have a good time because every now and again, I got a word or two that comes out. But normally, my cuss word is snap.
Snap. Oh, snap. I'm going to work on that.
And if I say snap, 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 something has pissed me off. So, but that's it.
I mean, how much of your faith is in the secret sauce of your food?
How much? Say it again.
How much of your faith is in the secret sauce of your food, you think?
Oh, 100%.
100%, all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even, I mean, whenever I'm stirring a pot or doing, I'm either humming, singing, or I'm praying
Yeah.
because I don't want anybody to get sick.
Right.
You know, I pray that it's enough food, that every palate that partakes of the food will enjoy it in some way or another, and that no one will have any kind of food allergy or allergic allergy or reaction from it.
Yes.
So I'm constantly praying in the kitchen in some way.
We can taste it, Chef. We
You can
We can
taste
taste it, Chef. I mean, with you having done so much stuff in life, and you put a lot of time and energy into all of them, if you could go back in time, would you tell your young self to focus on one thing at a time or more than one thing, or would you change anything about your come up, I guess?
I don't think I would because what I experienced being raised has helped to create who I am
Yes.
today. So I don't think I would change anything. I don't think you should focus on one thing and think that that's all you need.
Right.
Hone that craft,
Yeah.
but if something happens, you know, like an athlete, if they get injured, but they have no intelligence, what are they going to do?
Right.
You know, to survive. So I think you should allow yourself to experience a lot of different things and be great at it.
Yes.
Be great at them.
Could you tell us some of the training tips that you kind of self-taught yourself, like when you started taking cooking seriously? For any aspiring chef that's watching or listening, what is some good practices or good habits that you kind of made yourself do to train yourself as well?
Taste your food as you're going.
Do you taste a lot?
I do.
Yeah.
But now, not as much. I don't taste. I say, come here, taste this.
Right.
Because now my nostrils knows the smell,
Of your
the
food.
aroma that I need to make sure I'm smelling.
So you'll know by just smelling. if
Oh,
something's-
absolutely. I know the smell that I need to be smelling.
Let me try that.
But I'll say, come here and taste it.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, this is good. I say, ain't that good? Ain't that good? Excitement, joy.
Yes.
You know, you want to always exuberate that because, again, it still comes out in the food. So you have to taste as you go. Layer your seasonings, right?
What does that mean?
Don't think you just need to layer it at the beginning, put some seasoning.
Right.
You may have to add some more seasoning, you know, in the middle. You may have to add something at the end. But you're knowing that because you're tasting as you're going. And there's nothing wrong. Don't give me something that you haven't tasted on your own
Right.
and not know what it's going to do and then think, I'm going to like it because I'm going to tell you, no, this is not as good as I was expecting. You know? So layer your flavors.
Layer. Just keep practicing. What do you-
Exactly. That's
keep
exactly what
practicing.
that is.
I mean, with that too, did you cook for free a lot too? Coming up just so people could taste your food and getting out there? Do you remember working for free at all?
Listen, I still work for free. Cooking, when I was growing up, was a chore. So I absolutely cooked for free. It was either cook or go outside and work on cars with my great uncle.
Yeah, I don't do that.
And I don't like getting dirty. I didn't like getting dirty. I still don't like getting dirty. you know, oil and all of that under your nail beds and, you know, changing oil and tires and, you know, pumps and all that. No, that's not me.
Yes.
So I asked if I could stay in and learn how to cook with my aunts, my cousins, and all older cousins,
Yes.
and like that. And so it wasn't a paid gig,
Yeah.
but you had better do it right.
Yes.
And do it right the first time.
Mm.
So, yeah, I still do, as y'all.
Well, yeah, even with Tyler Perry and
Yeah.
stuff like that, taking on charitable events.
Absolutely.
What big projects are you working on now, currently?
Currently,
You said you were just filming the other day. What was that about?
I was filming a friend of mine who's a renowned gospel recording artist out of Los Angeles. Is filming a documentary, and I was just actually in LA a few weeks ago. Actually, after I complete this, I got to fly out to LA for the Emmys this weekend. So I
have
forfeited
your outfit
a
ready?
few parties
Oh,
to
what?
be here with you.
Thank you. Do you know what you're wearing?
I'll be in my chef attire.
Oh,
For the
cool.
last 6 years, I've been the exclusive celebrity chef
What?
for behind the stage.
They take good care of you, huh?
They take very good care of me.
I bet.
But I take care of them.
For the last question, having lived a good number of years by now, what do you define as a good life?
Ask me that one more time.
Having lived a good number of years by now, what's a good life?
See how she called me old?
Not great. I didn't say a great number of years. Did you say good? I mean, I lived a good number.
I've
too.
been waking up a long time. The Lord has blessed me. With the time that we're living in now, to just be able to wake up, it's such a blessing that so many really don't really take advantage and appreciate, yes. To be able to leave your home and make it back to your home,
Yeah.
you know, alive, is such a blessing. It's a different age, a different era today. People aren't as friendly as they were when I was growing up. We could leave our doors open all night, wide open,
Yeah.
unlocked, and no one would come in and harm us. But it's a different thing. But I'm grateful because I'm still doing what I love to do, and I'm still making money,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that I'm making an impact on people's lives in a good way.
Definitely.
In a good way.
I had one random Instagram question. One of our followers wanted us to ask you, and pretty much, I guess it's a very general question.
Okay.
They said, do you really need to be washing your chicken? Do professional chefs actually do that? What? I didn't know how to answer.
Well,
I was
see-
like,
So, let me tell you,
okay.
and don't be scared to eat my chicken now after I answer this. If you purchase your chicken from a food vendor,
Yes.
as most business owners, food and beverage business owners do, your chicken, your meat is already pre-washed and pre-seasoned,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
So you don't need to redo that.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're washing away a lot of seasoning.
Oh.
Now, the types of meats, chicken, what have you, raw, poultry, what have you, that we purchase in our local supermarkets,
Yes.
if you see red blood,
On that
You-
little thing, the little paper thing inside the thing?
even if it's not on that, if you see it on your meat,
Oh, okay.
you know what I mean, and just
Yeah.
haven't drained completely, you just automatically, even if you don't see it, you need to wash.
Okay.
Right? You need to prep it. Especially now because there's such a shortage of food.
Yeah, the wings are like, there's no wings right now.
Yeah,
There's
and
no-
if you find them, they're almost $10 a pound,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna see a lot of these feathers still on your wings. So you need to clean that, you know. You need to get you some limes and prepare, you
What
know.
does that do? Wait, limes.
That's gonna, any slime that's on that meat, that lime, that acid in that lime, not lemons, but we use lime, and I get that from the Caribbeans, right? My friends, and that's gonna clean all of that and freshen that meat.
And then you don't wash it after that. So you wash it, then you put the lime on it, and then you kind of...
and rinse that off.
And then rinse that off.
And rinse that off, right? And you're pulling that blood also from those veins.
Nice.
That's going to pull that out. But you need to prepare your chicken as if you're preparing it for yourself. And I would hope that you're preparing it well
Yes.
for yourself. Right?
Yes. Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
like the jerk chicken that we had last night, yes? So that was a 4-day process.
4 days.
That was a 4-day process. Absolutely.
Of washing it?
Once you wash it,
Yes.
you got to let it soak, right? Get all of that gunk out of it, right? All of that extra blood. And then you're going to let that marinate in the Jamaican sauce or Jamaican herbs, right? For 3 days.
Phew.
You got to stab the chicken, open those, that muscle up, right? And allow that flavor to go inside. So you're going to be able to eat it almost to the bone.
Yeah. No, I saw it falling off the bone.
Was
Like,
it falling off?
People were they were eating it.
They were
I
eating
saw,
it.
I saw nothing but bone.
I had a piece this morning before I came here.
Yeah. You didn't bring us any.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's okay. You'll be here next Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Art boy, little bitch.